Your Honor, this morning's trial calendar includes positions where defendant Camelot Club Condominium Association is listed to be resolved today by trial. In advance of this trial calendar, counsel for Camelot Homeowners Association and I were able to achieve a consent agreement that we present today for the court as our proposed consent order to resolve the issues for which the defendant was cited in this matter. The City of South Fulton would like to establish on the record the factual basis for the proposed consent order that we present to Your Honor for review and signature to become the order of the court. And in that effort, we would call former Code Enforcement Director Brian Morris to the stand to provide testimony in this matter. Good afternoon. Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Doing great.
Wonderful. Please provide your full name and the position you held with the City of South Fulton when you were in its employ.
Brian Morris, former Director of Code Enforcement in the City of South Fulton.
And were you so employed as the Director of City of South Fulton Code Enforcement in June of 2022?
Yes, I was.
Did you have an occasion at that time to perform an inspection of Camelot Club condominiums located at 5655 Old National Highway in the City of South Fulton? And tell the court the number of team members that you were in supervisory of at that time who were present in conducting that inspection.
Okay, memory serves correct. We had approximately 5 team members conducting that inspection in June 2022.
Can you tell the court what that inspection involved?
The inspection consisted of inspecting the worst buildings in Camelot, the ones that were deemed with the most violations. And so what we did, we thoroughly went through each and every building, every section. We inspected the exterior of the property first for any structural damage, any trash and debris, things of that nature. We then concluded by going on the inside of each building, going to common areas, to utility closets, and places that are accessible to the public. And we assessed it for violations. We found several. And
the areas that you inspected, were they deemed to be within the province of the condominium association for repair and upkeep?
Yes, to our knowledge, everything that we inspected was in the common areas and within the responsibility of HOA to fix and repair.
Tell the court about those in conjunction or associated with the Camelot Club Condominium Association that you have spoken to regarding the violation of Club Condominium.
Sure. So there was, of course, several violations, the most prominent being exterior maintenance. We saw where balconies were in disrepair, the facade of many of the buildings was chipping, flaking, peeling, just in general disrepair. The parking lot itself had potholes. We had abandoned vehicles or junk motor vehicles on the premises. And then internally, we noticed where there were electrical hazards, where connections were improperly hooked up and caused a safety hazard for the complex. There were trash and debris, various materials in the common areas and utility closets, among other interior issues such as holes in sheetrock and wood panels.
So my question is, did you speak to anybody in charge or in leadership with Camelot Condominium Club Homeowners Association in relation to this particular inspection?
Sure, absolutely. So we made all of our findings available to the then, to our knowledge, the acting president, which was Ms. Tabitha Rowe. We had had several discussions, many discussions about the various violations within Camelot, and we went through in great detail on that inspection.
Was Ms. Rowe present for the inspection conducted?
I don't recall.
Okay. Tell me, was this the first time in June of 2022 that you'd had an opportunity to visit Camelot Club Condominium Association for same or similar purposes?
No, actually, we've been going back.
Here's what I found.
Quite a bit. Prior to that, June 2022 date, we inspected Camelot on multiple occasions going back to 2020. As a part of this investigation, this series of inspections, which started back at least 6 months prior to that June 7th date.
And was Ms. Rowe aware that the inspection was to take place in June of 2022?
I can't say for sure.
Okay. Well, tell me what other departments with City of South Fulton were present, or other entities were present for this inspection to assist you in code enforcement?
Sure. So as a part of this this inspection process, we first initially hired some engineers to come out, structural engineers to come out and assess those buildings that we were inspecting. So we wanted to get their assessment of the structural soundness of each of those buildings. So that was part of the process. We also had the building official to come out and assess on a separate occasion prior to us doing our final inspection. And of course, during this process, the fire inspection services also had a part to play before they go with them to assess the different health and safety issues that Camelot has for us, ingress, egress, smoke detectors, and things like that.
And was the structural engineering firm who was present, were they able to assess the buildings to determine the soundness?
They were. We actually obtained a warrant to get access to each of those buildings, and so they had access to the proper assessment.
And as to, you mentioned a building official. Is that a building official with the City of South Fulton?
Yes, he's contracted through the City of South Fulton.
And fire inspection services also with the City of South Fulton?
Correct.
Okay. And as a result of this inspection, I'll state for the record that citation numbers T-1835CE, T-1831CE, T-3031CE, T-2067CE, T-334CE, and T-1834CE, and T-3035CE, T-2956CE, and T-138CE, T-139CE, T-3136CE, and T-1830CE were issued. Is that, to your knowledge, the range of citation numbers issued in this situation?
Yes, my knowledge that is correct.
And did those citations detail the code sections violated in substance and explain the violations that were noted on this June 2022 inspection date?
Yes, each citation listed the violations for each building and explained exactly what those code sections were for each violation.
And were those citations issued July 2022?
My knowledge.
And do you know whom those citations were issued to?
They were issued to the owner of record, which was Camelot Condominium Association. How they are listed in the Fulton County Tax Assessment.
And to their registered agent?
Their registered agent.
Okay. To your knowledge, was any follow-up inspection conducted by the City of South Fulton?
Yes, subsequent to us issuing the initial citation, we performed several follow-ups, both formally and informally. Just as a course of our daily inspection, we would monitor Camelot on a regular basis. And when we came out to, at the request of the engineering president at the time, to come out and do follow-up inspection. So we visited on several occasions after those citations. progress, if any, that was made.
And to your knowledge, do the violations that were observed in June of 2022 on that initial inspection, do they substantially still exist in that same state since that inspection date?
Yes, in large part, most, if not all, of the violations remain in a similar state. There's been very little in the way of improvement since that time.
With respect to specifically building 800, which is also known as the clubhouse, can you tell the court about the issues that were present at the clubhouse in June of 2022 at Camelot Club Condominium Association?
So in the clubhouse, there were several violations. We had exterior maintenance, the side was bad, safe, there. There was also an issue with the floor level, backing up with water and fluids. That was subsequently pumped out. They did fix the sump pump system. I think that was in disrepair. So that was corrected. There were other electrical issues and just interior concerns as well in the clubhouse, including air quality due to the moisture that accumulated in the basement.
And you mentioned that the water that accumulated in the lower level of the clubhouse was remedied. Are you aware of any other conditions that Camelot Club Condominium Association was cited for that were subsequently remedied?
That is the only significant one that I'm aware of. They all others, to my knowledge, still remain by law.
Okay. Can you give the court a general date as to when your service as director of code enforcement for the city of South Fulton ended?
Sure. My last day of service here in the city of South Fulton was August 14th, 2023.
And prior to your August 14th departure, to your knowledge, when was the last inspection of Camelot Club condominiums?
I honestly don't know if we did a comprehensive inspection. I know we visited for different issues from time to time, but for the comprehensive inspection, I'm not sure.
Okay, let's discuss the the June 2022 inspection. Tell the court about the time that it took in order to conduct that comprehensive inspection.
Sure. So, in doing something that massive, we're taking on the entire complex, or more specifically building by building, I would approximate it at about 6 to 7 hours to do a complete inspection.
And how many buildings are we actually talking about?
In this case, if I'm not mistaken, we're talking about 5 buildings.
And how many buildings are there total at Camelot Condominium?
Including the clubhouse, let's say 15.
Okay. And the areas that you you and your team performed this assessment in conjunction with the structural engineer, as well as the building services and the fire department, that didn't include inspection of private residences owned independently. Is that correct?
It did, but there were some vacant properties that were open. And while we were there, the team took the liberty to go ahead and inspect those as a separate violation to address those homeowners individually. But this particular inspection scope was only public property coming in.
And these citation issues were not to private homeowners with respect to code violations concerning private residences.
That's this is all public common areas. The other one that we just happened to see while we were there, we see those who didn't happen.
And while you were present at the condominium complex, did any board representatives make themselves known to you at the scene?
To my knowledge, they did not.
And since that inspection, were you able to speak with residents of Camelot Club condominiums regarding your inspection of the common areas within the purview of the homeowners association?
Absolutely. We would often get requests, open record requests, and just request information from residents, board members, and concerned affiliates within Camelot condominium. So we would often field those type of questions and respond what we could legally, and then direct them to open record requests for things that we could not freely give.
Did the homeowners association contact you with respect to the citations issued either independently or through their council of record regarding the inspection performed in June of 2022?
Yes, they did. We had multiple conversations about what we found there and what needed to be done to rectify those issues.
Okay. And did you have an opportunity while you were in your employ as City of South Fulton Code Enforcement Director to comment or provide direction with respect to the proposed consent order present before the court today?
Yes, we did take a look at it, we discussed it, go through the details for
With respect to the proposed consent order, are the citations listed therein and the violations associated therewith, are those the issues that you and your team identified on that June 2022 inspection of Camelot Club condominiums?
Yes, those are the issues that we identified, on the same ones that represented that.
And were there any additional citations issued to Camelot Club condominium after June of 2022?
No, to my knowledge, this document represents the entirety of our citations and charges.
Okay. Your Honor, this time I tender Dr. Morris for cross-examination, if any, by Counsel Camelot.
Yes, Your Honor. Just have a few questions. Director Moore, you mentioned that your initial inspection in June of 2022, it took 6 to 8 hours.
My recollection is so.
And would you say that was an extensive amount of time?
I would say it was an appropriate amount of time, but it wasn't extensive. Keep about it.
It wasn't extensive. In your testimony, is that Ms. Rowe may not have been there, or she was, you don't recall?
No,
okay. Do you remember any board members being present that day?
I'm not aware of any that was there.
Okay. You mentioned a structural engineering report was commissioned as well. Was that before or after the issuance of the citations?
That's in place before the issuance.
And the findings of the structural engineering report, the report, did it conclude there was structural issues with the buildings?
Not to the extent that we were trying to determine the extent of the structural issues. They were not significant.
Okay, so none of the violations involve structural issues.
They do. They don't involve major structural issues. The structural issues I think we cited for were some exterior violations, the balconies and things like that, but nothing to the extent of the foundation.
Fair enough. You mentioned that subsequent to June 2022, your officers and you conducted what you said formal and informal follow-ups. What would the definition of a formal follow-up be versus an informal follow-up?
I would define that as a formal follow-up is when we were asked to come out to do an inspection or asked to review some work that's been done. Informal would just be in the course of our normal duties. So we would get calls from residents from time to time to come out. And in the course of that, of course, the officer is going to do a kind of a windshield survey of the area, but not a specific formal inspection.
Okay. When you do a formal follow-up, is there any obligation to inform the board of the improvements or lack thereof when you conduct those formal follow-ups?
I would imagine that, and I wasn't a part to each and every one of those conversations, but we were called out for a formal inspection and follow-up, that communication would have taken place between the requester and the officer.
The particular requester being possibly the association or its representative should follow up with the particular officer that is the one facilitating the formal follow-up. Okay. And then does that officer produce a written report of the status of the improvements or growth?
That part of our process, part of the process we could, board by communication with those people, and that position would be to provide us the updates, provide us with status updates, so that we could then measure that against what we actually see on the ground.
Okay. When they do that, then when you are receiving the input of the written status report, will you then produce a written status of how much work there needs to be done?
First, have a hypothetical, we never received those reports. Likely would provide some feedback, but since we never consistently received those reports, we did not have opportunity to respond at that.
It's your testimony that you've never received a written report?
We didn't receive any quality questions on a repeated basis, with timeline, receipts, pictures of the work that was done, invoices, things that would be expected in a report of this magnitude. We did not receive that.
So your testimony is you did receive reports, but they were not up to your quality.
Sporadic report that.
Okay. And then when was the last time that you personally visited the association?
I personally visited, I can't recall exactly.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. You too.
Thanks. Director Morris, I just have just a quick follow-up as to the structural engineer report. To the best of your knowledge of recalling that report, any concerns of structural damage or disrepair that made the units unsafe to inhabit?
No, Your Honor, and that's what we were really testing to see if the magnitude of the structural damage. To my recollection, there was nothing that supported any major structural damage, or any major repair that was needed. So we filed the report, but we did not see any to correct that.
All right, I have no further questions. If the counselor has any further questions?
Nothing further from the city.
All right, thank you for your time, Director Morris.
Your Honor, if we may, present the consent order to the court. Counsel and I have had an opportunity this morning to review and point out any errors or issues that we might have, but I believe that we are in agreement that the report is our intended presentation to the court for its review and consideration. It is signed by the acting president of Camelot Homeowners Association, Mr. Andrew Lee. Counsel for Camelot can represent further to the court in this regard.
Yes, Your Honor. I have had a chance to review the consent order latest form with Ms. Rowe, who is the president of the association pursuant to the last election cycle with the association. Ms. Rowe and I discussed the various responsibilities that will be placed upon the association, the timeline that is required by the association, and the hope of abatement of fines, presuming that the association takes the responsibility of the maintenance very seriously within the timeline provided in the consent order. So that has been on the board in this row. We look forward to the opportunity to comply with the agreement and get, as Officer Morris said, the externals, the facade, everything conformed with the expectations of the consent order.
Before we move on, Attorney Adderley, we did hear factual basis. As to a factual basis for the consent order, Does Camelot stipulate that there is a factual consent order outside of anything that wasn't brought up with the testimony of Director Morris?
Your Honor, you're asking if we agree that there's a need for a consent?
Stipulate to a factual basis for the consent.
Yes, Your Honor, we do. We do acknowledge that aside from the clubhouse at this, well, at the time of June 2022, yes. And then at this point in time, the clubhouse notwithstanding, yes, we do concede the factual basis.
All right, thank you, sir. Is this the president of the HOA present?
No. You want some testimony, Your Honor?
If you would like to, I would like to give that opportunity.
Could she stand here, Your Honor? Why don't you raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Why don't you state your name?
My name is Clarice Smith Jarvis. I am now serving currently as the secretary of the Camelot Board of Directors. 2 years I've been the secretary. 18 months to be exact, but. Yeah.
All right, and really I wanted, and I don't know, do we have any other Camelot board members present or just residents?
Residents. Homeowners.
And then this message is for the board mostly.
Yes.
Because you all will be the ones tasked with repairing and making sure that you are in compliance within this 120-day process.
Yes.
My concern is that the citations were issued back in June of 2020. Frankly, Camelot has had issues a lot longer than just when that inspection date in 2020 was done. And unfortunately, I am aware that there were supposed to be things done. This has been on our calendar for quite a while. And throughout the process, there was supposed to be some things done that just were not done. Okay. I think the attorneys have come up with a reasonable agreement that I hope provides sort of a carrot and a stick. The fines are reasonable, the fine amounts are set. Consent order gives you a reasonable amount of time to come into compliance, and the carrot being the possibility of the abatement of those fines. As far as how the association stands financially, I'm not aware of what that is. I hear the news just like everybody else about possible improprieties, but I don't know any details about that. So I hope that the association itself is in a financial position to be able to come into compliance. For me, it's about the safety of the neighborhood more than anything. I mean, folks live in different kind of conditions all over the world, but we in South Fulton have to make sure that the safety of the people that live in Camelot is of utmost importance. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and sign the order. I hope this is sort of the beginning chapter of a turnaround for Camelot. I grew up there, so I remember Old National, Old Camelot.
Yes.
Yorktown condominiums on the Old National I grew up. They ended up in disrepair, much like Camelot. And I believe it got sold on a tax sale. Don't want that to happen to Camelot. That's what happened to Yorktown. It was no longer. So I'm hoping that you will take this opportunity in the board, not you personally, of course, but
The board.
take this opportunity. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you have any questions? I know November 15th is the first inspection date.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that's in the order.
Yeah, I did see.
That is in the order. Hoping that, the entire board will be there.
Yes.
There's certain things I can't order, but I really recommend. I recommend you all get a project manager or use your management company, someone that can spearhead on behalf of the board.
Yes.
These things get it done.
Yes.
And how many board members do you all have?
We have 7.
7 board members.
Yes.
7 board members trying to all get on the same page to run a project is pretty good.
Yes.
It's just the reality of it. So hopefully you all can come up with a point person, whether that be the management company or project company. Because what I find a lot of times with code enforcement is the communication between code enforcement and the home. If that communication is great, everything gets done, I don't see it.
Yes.
If that communication breaks down, they're going to cite you. And the board needs to understand that this consent order addresses that June 22nd inspection. If things continue to go into disrepair, there can be new violations. But what I do know about code enforcement is when the communication is open, they let you know about those violations, you're aware of them, you get them taken care of, you don't get them.
So,
Okay, so be aware that this does only take into account those June 22nd violations.
okay,
So convey my message to the board.
will
Wish you
do.
all the best of luck. You all have a great attorney. Keep in communication with him as well, and hopefully we can see attorney.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
There are residents of East Angeles, I believe that, does Your Honor have a copy of the proposed order?
I do have a copy of the proposed order.
And there are residents present in court who have asked to be heard on the subject. And at Your Honor's
How many do we have?
availability.
This isn't a city council meeting, so I'm gonna put a cap. This is court, this is not a city council meeting, so I'm gonna, you all can, I don't know if you all are together. And Solicitor said, I'll let you choose the 3 that I will hear from.
Okay. He said, another 7. Are there 3 of you? And 7 of you are 3 on 3? Yeah. I'll let you discuss it just briefly, decide which may come over.
Judge Sheridan, thank you so much for allowing us. Even though there's not many homeowners here, many wanted to be here, but we just found out about this code enforcement hearing on Friday, on Friday. Our board does not communicate to us. John Anderley does not communicate to us. So had we not been given that information by, I don't know if I should mention their names or not, but they are city leaders, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't know anything. I do have a letter that was typed up. Basically, several homeowners, we compiled a letter, and if I could read that, I'd really appreciate it. Okay, thank you. And again, my name is Candia Perry. I am a resident and a homeowner at Camelot. I've been a resident since 2012, a homeowner since 2020. And the letter, let me just one moment. I'm sorry, I should have it up already. I'm so sorry. Okay, Honorable Judge Sheridan, we, the passionate and dedicated owners of Camelot Club condominiums, humbly beseech your understanding, support, and empathy in our quest for justice. With unwavering determination, we reach out to you directly to plead for continuance in all matters related to the ongoing code enforcement at Camelot Club condominiums. Of course, we didn't know what exactly was going on today. Our recent events have cast a shadow over our community as the actions of the former HOA board members have left an indelible mark of mismanagement and despair. The impact of their deeds continues to weigh heavily on the shoulders of our owners, who have for far too long borne the brunt of their actions in silence. We strive relentlessly to oust those who played a role in this grave injustice and to mend the wounds inflicted upon our beloved condominium community. Throughout this arduous journey, the owners who stand united in good faith have been left in shadows, uninformed, and in the dark regarding any progress in resolving these violations. We firmly believe that recent revelations, and arrests will provide the necessary impetus for a new board to take the helm, steering us toward a brighter and more just future. It is worth noting that it was merely a year ago when Your Honor implored the involvement of legal representatives, specifically Mr. John Anderley, to convene with the board and our community's attorney our community's attorney. Regretfully or regrettably, this directive was overlooked and the silence from the legal representatives was deafening. This disregard for your instructions compounded our frustrations and disappointments. Moreover, we have tirelessly endeavored to remove the current president, Tabitha Rowe, from the board and have sought their removal from the property. As per the court's suggestion of a meeting among the lawyers, the board, and the community. To our dismay, this construction has remained elusive. The very law office that ought to advocate for our community has fallen short, turning a deaf ear to our earnest pleas. The recent legal action taken against the corrupt board members following years of investigation is a glimmer of hope. It marks the beginning of a new chapter, one in which the community can right its wrongs and strive for redemption. We implore your patience and understanding as we continue our relentless efforts to rid our board of those who perpetrate the mistakes of the past. We firmly believe that by replacing certain board members, we can pave the way for genuine progress. With the steadfast support of owners, we are united in our pursuit of a board that will work transparently and earnestly to rectify our longstanding dysfunction. Only with the board that cooperates openly with the community and the courts can we hope to chart a course towards redemption and compliance with the codes. The persistence of these code violations is a testament to the need for openness and integrity. We have taken upon ourselves to identify contractors who can assist our community in rectifying these violations. We respectfully ask for your trust, patience, and opportunity to demonstrate tangible progress. Together, we eagerly look forward to a brighter future for Camelot Club condominiums. We are inspired by the current turn of events and are more determined than ever to formulate an effective action plan that will reverse the decline that has afflicted our cherished Camelot with deep conviction and the signatures of all owners in good standing. Thank you, Your Honor. And adding to that, I'd like to say John Anderley does not represent our community. He represents Tabitha Rowe, and if that's the route they continue to take, Tabitha Rowe should be paying John Anderley, not our assessments. And that's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Mashawn Johnson, and I'm a property manager for Camelot individual property owners. I took upon Camelot, I was asked to come upon to help the homeowners who has been crying for over the years. I recently was a resident. I'm so full today because I just want to stay, you know what, all these problems, you'll go all over the place. And I'm going to try to stay focused to this. I'm here to speak for my 6 homeowners who are elderly, who bought their to later on retire and everything. 3 of them have come out of retirement, come back to work. 3 of them are homeowners for the number 3 building. There were issues beforehand, but I can really speak on Tabitha Rowe's actions and the response from the board. They're not going to let the homeowners know anything, Your Honor. I see that John Adderley is here, and I'm glad to meet him. He has ignored me since February under order. I was told it's $150 to speak to him. She's the only one who can speak to him. She puts other people in place. From the secretary, treasurer is active right now. They have brought charges on the old too, but the acting board now, I have data history. They're filed to the homeowners. I have homeowners here now that just don't know which way to go. They ignore them. They are still paying their HOA fees. The account is zero. Homeowners paid their insurance. Out of $2 million, they only paid $30,000 for a water bill. It's not fair, but at the end of the day, like I say, I'll be all over the place, but this attorney, the HOA management, the management for them, they are not responding at all. Tabitha runs everything through her board. It's 2 people on the board that are fighting for dear life. They're homeowners. And one of the rules for the HOA board is you must have own property and be up to date. This attorney and HOA manager has allowed Tabitha to quit claim deeds and properties such as one of my homeowners here. I had to just fight for him in court to gain his property back, and we're still fighting now because Tabitha is telling the person who was there, you got right being there. And Fulton, I get called over there every day, but claiming these, and they have wiped out old fees and loans on these, and owners don't even know it. I have contacted myself, other homeowners. I went to the feds. I've even introduced myself to the board, brought them in. I have been fighting this. My background is the school system. I'm the mother of 14, 8 boys, 6 girls. All of them are productive. I don't work. I stepped down from my job when my homeowner here, Mr. Combs, asked me to help him. Tabitha was trying to scheme him out of his own unit. And I got a productive eviction for him, and they reached out to me. I want to stop because it's a lot of investigation going on, and I'm just full, but these homeowners are not aware. Everybody on the board except productive 2 members have tried to remove Tabitha just as of last week before last. They had a vote. Miss Betty Lagun, the one who was arrested, she did it, but she was informed that it would hurt her to turn that petition in, then it would help her. So she didn't turn it in, but thank God, 2 weeks later, she was arrested. It's a lot going on that they blocked these homeowners. The baton was passed from Betty Lagun, all of them up under, and I know their names. Like I say, I'm full, and thank you, Kadia, for repeating about we wasn't aware of this, but I want to stop. I'm just asking, please, these homeowners are not aware. They're not aware. My homeowner is not aware of his fines and everything, and I'm fighting for that. We're going to take care of it, but please just listen to the homeowners. Give them the opportunity. They don't know. They kept them in the blind, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, City of South Fulton, Mr. Morris. But they have help. We're here to help them. One more other thing. They applied for this funding, a grant funding up to $20,000 through City of South Fulton. I went to the feds to ask them to get someone to oversee them, because if they get their hands on it, it's going out the door. As soon as money get in an account, it goes right out. It goes right out. So money is coming in, and they're still paying their homeowner fees, but they're taking the money out as soon as I have it. Thank you.
Listen, the ownership of most of the units with my husband. My unit is 504 with multiple others. I want to redirect us back to the situation at hand. We do have a lot of homeowners who have came together. They have did some pavement. We had a homeowner come around with a U-Haul truck who picked up all the trash. Also, who have been with some of our common areas as far as, redoing our hallways. So homeowners are coming together to get the job done that the HOA is not doing for us. With us knowing some of the things that we know now, Anderly, yes, we are asking that he's not our legal representation, being that there's some conflict of interest as far as him being on our Secretary of State as our registered agent, and he's supposed to be our lawyer. His communication has not been effective, as well as he has known about the money. Him and his lawyer that came for Camelot have known about the money since the day that they walked in, because they have had a lawsuit against me and my husband as well. That has, we have, brought it to their understanding. And I feel like they didn't bring out the issue to the police or do some extra extensive, I guess, going back through to make sure everything was accurate before they can to pursue with Camelot and being on their side of not understanding what the homeowners were saying. So I do have some type of exhibit to that we have did some work around Camelot. Okay, if that would be a show to the court or to you?
No, that would be to our code enforcement office.
Okay.
And like I said, lines of communication are open, so if there's what we need to let code enforcement office know.
Okay.
And that's not something that we do today.
Okay. All righty.
Do you have anything further?
No.
Thank
All right.
you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And this is for everyone, especially the homeowners, because I know they are frustrated, probably beyond frustrated. But there is only so much that this court can do. Okay, we're restrained with confines of what this court is able to do and what the law allows this court to do. And based on what is you all's comments today, it's a bigger picture.
Yes.
You know, it is a bigger picture. There are other avenues, you know, that you all can take. I cannot give you advice. I mean, the association is an entity. The association has hired Attorney Catterley, good, bad, or indifferent, based on your opinions of how he's handled the counsel for the association. Okay, but I can't remove Attorney Catterley. You all as an association, or as owners, you all are technically the association. You know, your board is voted on, your president is voted on. I can't make them be more transparent. I just don't have the power to do that. You all should hopefully take the steps that need to be taken. Use your rights as homeowners to, you know, whatever you choose to do with your people, file lawsuits, you know. But what I do, and I'll just reiterate that line of communication, being open with code enforcement, and that'll get you information. Open with your council people, open with the mayor. That's how you found out about today. Unfortunately, you know, going directly to your board does not seem to be satisfactory for you as far as getting information. So you all are going to have to just simply find other ways to be a part of the process. Open records. We get the open records request in municipal court, so I know you all are using the open records.
Yes, yes.
Okay, you'll get information, you'll get a copy of the order. You'll see in the order that November 15th is going to be the date of the inspection. Okay, so we have no reason not to be transparent. You have tools at your disposal like open record. Our calendars are open records, our public record as well. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind. What's going to happen is I'm going to sign the order. The association is going to be required to do monthly status reports based on the work that is done, based on this order. We're going to expect those status reports to come in and be reviewed by our director. Okay, if we don't get those status reports, we're likely to be back in court. Okay, now one thing we cannot necessarily do is we're not going to go in and necessarily do the work for you. Okay, and this is for the board and the homeowners. It is going to be on you all to get the work done. The city is going to be here to monitor, but what you have to understand as well is that if it is not done, fines are assessed, and the city could take other steps, which, you know, I don't think any of the owners want, but there are additional steps that would displace people that live in Camelot, that have made it their home. If they're structurally unsound, become a nuisance. The city can take further action. I don't think that's what the city wants. I can't speak for the city, but I don't think that's what the city wants, and I'm pretty sure the home to be displaced as well. So I can just implore you all to take action. Do what you can. I'm going to go ahead in this order and conclude our business today. Do we have anything further?
Would that order be open for us to receive?
It's absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So I think we're going to have some courtesy copies.
I do. I have some.
Yeah, Solicitor Sears already has copies. So unless there was anything further from Solicitor Sears or Attorney Adams.
Representative from the city.
All right, thank everyone for their time today. So go ahead and sign this order. We'll get it filed. There are some courtesy copies that Solicitor Sears has available for anyone that's through. Other than that, I'll conclude everything for today. I believe really good. Calendar.